Hello everybody and welcome to week 4 of our Programming Essentials class. Just a couple things I want to touch base with you on this week before we get going here. And that is that has been a little bit of confusion about the lessons. When I put information in a lesson here and you go in here and you're going through the lesson and there's some video content. There's been a lot of video content for last week there was anyway. When you go through here, it's completely understandable that you might want to go back and review something in a video a second time or whatever. When it comes time and you get to these questions, you don't really have to answer the questions more than once. You can just skip right over them. As long as you do them one time through, and that'll get you the grade for the lesson, getting those points, and you want to do that. And you can redo them. Same thing too. The main thing is redo them, get 100% on these lessons because they're just touching base with you on particular concepts that were in the videos. So if you have to do it a couple of times to do it, you can. But at the same time, if you're just jumping into the lesson here to review something, you don't have to finish the whole lesson or answer all the questions again. Your highest score on the answers for the lessons is what counts. So it's not like I heard some people referring to them as a quiz or something. It's not a quiz. It's just a lesson with some questions that are making sure you're understanding the main points that I wanted you to come away from with. So you get credit if you redo them, and if you don't redo them, you just get whatever the highest score was. So once I jump into a lesson here, I don't have to go through it page by page here either. Up on the right, you should see a lesson menu, or if I want to jump to a particular video, I can do that. I also did go in here and change, I want to have these videos in as high a resolution as I can so that you can read the text in the video, because that can be a problem. But I know one mistake I was making is that the embedded image here was too big for some of you for the screen resolution you were working at, and you couldn't see this full screen button down here in the bottom right. So I have resized those even back in previous lessons so that now everybody should be able to see this, because I don't think you'd be working with a screen that's any less resolution than the one I'm showing you right now for this video. So hopefully that works a little bit better for you. And if you're, at the same time, if you're struggling seeing the text that's in there then, because I've changed some of that resolution stuff, let me know, because I'm trying to put them up at a resolution that works for everybody, but still allows you to read all the text, because that's pretty important to understanding what's going on. All right? There are a couple of things I want to talk about this week as far as kind of changes, okay? Starting this week, I will start docking assignments if they're late, okay? And that's pretty much the Technical Center's policy, but I don't do it the first couple of weeks because I know that we've got some people that, they don't get the class added right away. Then we have some login issues all the time, and we need time to get set up and having everything working. So I don't do it during the first couple weeks, but starting with this week's assignments, I will be penalizing any assignments that are late, okay? The penalty for that is it's 10% each day they're late, but I won't dock it any more than 40%. So in other words, if you're a day late, it's docked 10%. If you're 2 days late, 20%. But once it's been 4 days late, you can still turn it in, okay? But even if it's perfect, the best you're going to get is 60%, but it doesn't go any lower than that. So, so it's just a matter of, especially in this class, the big deal is now that we're building programs so many of them build on the previous week's programs that if you get behind, it's just a big snowball effect and you kind of never get caught up. You're going to experience that possibly already this week. Last week, you should have built your first program, Hello World. And this week, one of the assignments is to add on to that program and change it to be Hello World International with graphics. And that's a really common thing. Programmers, once you write a program, it's not like you write it once, you're done, you never worried about it again. Usually you have to come back to a program, fix some bugs, add some features, and move on. So we will do that a fair amount, where we take one of the programs that we have previously written and then add on to it. Okay, and that, like I said, that happens this week with the Hello World one. Besides late policy, another thing that starts this week because we should be all up and running, is the fact that I do expect you to check into the website on a daily basis, okay? Just like you attend all your face-to-face classes every day that there's school, you should be signing into the website, making sure there aren't any announcements that have changed anything, and just checking in. The website does give me a report on who's logged in that day, tells me how long it's been since you've logged in, and so what I'll do for each 5-day week, it's just a point a day that you logged in and checked the site. Okay, so if I'll check that on a daily basis. Obviously, for all this stuff, late work and logging into the site, this just applies to school days. So if there's a school day that you've missed or something like that, it doesn't count against you for logging in or being late. One thing I would say, if your school has school that day, I have school calendars, so I kind of know when you don't have school. But if you're out ill or something like that, you probably need to send me a message so I'm not docking you points and stuff like that when you were out ill, because I don't necessarily get reported to when you're out sick. Okay, so make sure you let me know that. If you have any questions about either the late work policy or the logging in on a daily basis grade there, just let me know. Okay, I think that's really most of the housekeeping things I needed to touch base with you on. This week, I'm not adding a lot. Last week, there was a lot of video content, a lot of new stuff at you. I think you probably found it pretty easy, I hope, but still there were a lot of videos to watch. This week, there's not a lot of video content. I did add a couple of concepts working with pictures because I think it's kind of fun to put some graphics to these programs. We're not working with very advanced programs right now, so at least what we can be doing is making them look a little better with some images and stuff like that. And I also wanted pretty early on here to get into the topic of editing event handlers, because if you don't know how to do that, what you're forced to do is copy and paste a lot of code in your program. You might have the same code in multiple events. Like if I had a button and a menu item that both did the same thing, I'd have to have the same code in both those events. Well, if you know how to edit an event handler, you can just have the code one time and have the code run when either one of those things gets clicked on. So that you'll learn how to do that this week as well. Okay, and then a lot of video content to watch. It shouldn't take you but maybe one class session to get through that, and you'll want to do that because I do have you have 3 programs to work with this week. Number 1, you're going back to the Hello World one and changing some things to it, adding to it, and then there's 2 new ones to build, My School and My Favorites. So you're going to have to spend a lot of your class time this week working on these programs, so you do want to get through the lesson about pictures early on so that you can get your programs built. If you're having any problems or questions or difficulties, please do contact me on one-on-one support forum, and I'll see you later.